10 on the scale of confusion, meaning the most? 10? Okay, it's okay. 9? Who's 9 confused? Who's 8? 7? 7? Okay, that's pretty high. 6? That's embarrassing, Carolyn.
It's okay, Kathy, I still love you.
Okay, 5? 4? Who's confused on the 4 level? 3? 2? 1? Who's not confused at all? Oh, that's good. That makes me feel good. So I don't have to present in a room of confusion. That's always really hard because you never know if you're getting clarity. Okay.
I assume about just women, since she's up there talking about just women.
I really feel like embarrassed about the pre-introductions that were done about me yesterday. So I walked in the hotel and I had several people say, "Oh my gosh, we heard all about you." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." It was all good. But I'm Kathy McDowell. And I'm delighted to be with you, and I'm really happy to be the newish editor of Just Women magazine. When people say I'm the new editor, it doesn't feel new anymore because I've done 3 issues. So it's getting to be old hat. No, that's not true. There's always a new excitement and a new challenge for every issue. I started this last summer, just before General Assembly, and so I spent my General Assembly just interacting with a lot of people, and that was great because I came home with just a notebook full of ideas. It was wonderful. And for me, just this work I'm doing brings together several paths I've been on in my life. I've got an undergraduate degree in journalism. My son, actually my youngest son, calls me a grammar Nazi. And I have a Master of Divinity degree, and I have 10 years of experience as a pastor, and then as an associate pastor, and then as a pastor in churches in Georgia. So it just kind of has brought together all these different paths. And I always thought when I was a pastor, don't tell my churches, but I always thought the best things about being in the church were writing and teaching. And now I get to do that. So because what I found myself doing is doing a lot of going out and teaching. And later this afternoon, on your schedule, you have some things with me again there, but we're actually going to do a Bible study. We are going to do a Bible study from the advanced copy, which has not been published yet, of the 2016 Bible study. So you will see for yourself how easy it is to implement and how great it is. So it's going to be fun. Okay, so I hear from yesterday, I talked with Crystal last night. She kind of filled me in. She said there were a lot of questions about the publication schedule. And you know, I understand that because there was a little bit of a staffing gap this last year, and there has been a push to try to get the Bible study out earlier so that it was to be in time for spring conferences. And so in fact, it wasn't always known when that Just Women was going to come. So I'm going to tell you what has happened. I'm going to draw it out on these little sticky things, I think. And then I'm going to tell you what's happening in 2016, okay? And I'm going to show it in pictures because I think people remember things when it's visual. Okay, and I'm going to...
Yeah, you can feel free to get rid of them.
Can I just use these?
Yeah, let's take this top thing.
Tear the top part off.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay, so winter. Winter. All right. Winter is one issue. Got it? Okay. And it's kind of, it's been, can y'all see this more or less? It's supposed to come out January. So sometime in the month of January. And because it's bulk mailed, it varies. You know, it'll come out the first week, the second, or the third week. How many of you or our subscribers have received your winter issue? Woohoo! Okay, so how many, I should ask you this, how many have not? That's what it looks like, it's blue. So some of you have not received that blue copy, thank you. Okay, winter, all right, well it's still January, what are you complaining about? All right, spring, okay. Here's spring, we're going backwards, okay? Pretend like we're reading another language. From right to left. So spring, okay, that, including this year, is the Bible study. Got it? But the thing that's bad about the spring being Bible study is kind of like that story about why you always cut your ham in half when you put it in the pan to cook it. Oh, because my mom's pan was too small, okay? So the story is, why do we always have the spring issue be the Bible study? Well, back in the days, 5 years ago, 7 years ago when we started in 2009, they always, the Presbyterians published their Bible study in the spring. That's when it was ready for us to slap our cover on it, okay? So that's why. But our women, the last 2 years, now the third year, since we've been publishing our own Bible study with our disciple women, pastors, leaders, and teachers as authors, the women here have been, and the women across the country have been saying, and in Canada have been saying, why can't we get it in time for spring conferences? So we've been trying to push it back, Have you ever tried to publish 3 magazines at once? Fall, winter, and spring? It doesn't make any sense, okay? So that's the problem. And that's why sometimes, and by the way, this issue for 2016 will be out around Easter. It's going to be starting to be mailed around Easter, okay? So the next issue is summer. Oops.
You're good.
And that's a magazine issue. And then fall. All right, so there you have 4 issues. And by the way, I got to do this plug right now. 4 issues, 3 magazines, 1 8-session Bible studies. The 3 magazines include 20 lessons because there's an online free resource that you can use as a study guide. Thank you. Okay, next one. So we're reading backwards, okay? Winter first, spring second, summer third, fourth is fall, okay? And this is January. This is technically March. Yeah, it's March, but really, if you count 4 months, shouldn't it be, or 3 months, shouldn't it be April? But we've been pushing it back, and it's a twice as long publication. So that's not easy to do from a production end, okay? This is July. This is October. This was late this year because I came on and there had been a staffing gap, and we just got it out as fast as we could, okay? All right, so that's what it has been, beginning in 2017, okay? This is really easy. You're not going to lose the issue. If somebody already has a subscription and you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to pay twice, no. Because it's nothing we're doing will affect any of your subscriptions. This is not going to happen there. It's going to happen here. Yay! Yay! Wow, it's so simple. Yes.
Can you use words other than here and there for those of us who can't see you at all?
I think the thing I'm seeing is, okay, so we get ours in the spring, and we are on a July
So I can actually see.
calendar. People who want to start their Bible study
So
in January, they're not going to get it.
Thank you,
Kathy, if you just put dates on them, 2016,
But
2017.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah,
It's what they're
yeah.
doing. That's
That'll
fine. You
help.
just have to adjust.
Here's 2017, yeah.
Yes.
And I have more info. I'm going to give you another piece of paper that has that date on it with the deadline. Because you know what? I need to tell you everything, and everybody needs to hear things 7 times, 7 different ways, because it is the world we live in. Okay, so I get that.
About right.
So, beginning in 2017, the winter issue, which will come out January, over my dead body will not. It is going to happen in January. It's going to be the Bible study. Okay, so you will have it well ahead of any spring. Yeah. No, actually no. The subscriptions for that, I'll give you more information about that. Anyway, is that clear as mud to everybody? No, is that clear?
This rocks.
Yeah, it does.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It is what happens sometimes when, and so like I came in and one of the things I did was look at
People
the
just
whole
have to
production
adjust. It'll be
schedule.
fine.
And I just said, well, like everyone was saying, well, people have got to have it before the spring conferences. And like the goal has been, okay, so let's just work harder and faster and we'll do it. But then I'm like, well, why don't we just flip it, so we don't have to work so hard, I mean, there's something to be said for walking on the beach, so, anyway. So anyway, I'm a big believer in balance. Having lived a life of unbalance most of my life. So anyway, so I tried to bring some balance and order to the production schedule of Just Women magazine. So it actually is a quarterly magazine. Okay. Any questions?
I just want to let you know, Kathy, I'm not confused anymore.
Take it to the poll. Okay. All right. How many people are on the one level of confusion level? How many people need more coffee? No. Anyway.
I just have to push my stuff over there.
All right, so that's that publication schedule. And I'm glad I drew a picture. Doesn't that help?
Yeah.
Okay, next thing I'm going to do is hand out this. Oh, well, maybe I should take a check, or not a check, like a check on what are people's questions. Well, maybe I'll go through all the answers that I brought, and then we'll ask how many questions we have left. Should we do that? Okay, we'll do that. So this is a brochure. Yeah, here's one thing. There's 2 papers I'm handing out. Thank you. I better keep one. Yeah, I better keep one. You never know. And I just I know what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Can't remember what it was for, but I used it for something recently. Oh. Don't be inundated with paper. One more time, right?
One more.
Okay.
December 7th. Everyone said October.
Yeah, I thought yesterday they said October.
Well, the latest deadline, but start in October.
Maybe that might be a question.
That's right. I got one.
Everybody's
not going to be here, so I have to
Everybody have a light day. That's not much time.
Oh, it's not raining.
Is it
It
raining?
hasn't started.
It's supposed to thunderstorms.
Yeah, all day, but even 5 minutes ago it wasn't. They were still out there working.
What's the weather supposed to be like? I just thought, wow, we're telling them 2 different dates. I want to make sure.
I just
Okay.
no.
I called her and
Beautiful.
I knew better. And even considering a new staff person has timing and everything.
So this
I
is
just
what
want to
you
be
wrote
clear down. before we say something that
So this is what you, yeah, this is good. This is good.
So it must be bad.
It is the drop dead deadline, so.
So bad.
I asked
So it
Jonathan
really
if
is
he was
a hard
okay,
call.
that's what he wrote back.
So if you wait till the
that's
6th, that's not smart.
Probably not smart.
It's gonna get quite a bit of snow.
Yeah, like
Oh,
2
boy.
feet.
You live in Christiansburg.
Okay, all right, everybody
Gonna
got
make our
that
life so much
information?
simpler.
Okay, so first, the cream sheet here, the cream sheet, I feel like I need to dance around a bit. So this just gives you on a piece of paper the authors or the writers and what their topics are. All the topics are, every title is actually a scriptural quote, okay? So every title is a scripture quote from that lesson. And we'll talk more about this afternoon when we do the Bible study, but I am ecstatic about this study because the whole concept of lavish hospitality and how, we have a lot of conversation in our political and civic arenas about hospitality and what we are to do. And very little of it is from the perspective of people of faith. And the biblical witness again and again demands us. It it doesn't just remind us, it demands us to welcome the stranger. And you'll hear once in a while, you'll hear echoes of that in some politicians, okay? You'll hear that, but oh my gosh, we're not talking like people of faith. And so where is that voice? You know, so I'm just so ecstatic about this. But you know, and if you are worried about immigrants, I'm not, you know, condemning that concern at all. We live in a very complicated world. I just know that this study is going to invite some conversations. It's not going to be the conversation that's one-sided, okay? So just don't start thinking, oh my gosh, what a liberal stuff up there talking to us. So, but seriously, the biblical witness talks about welcoming the stranger. And so how do we do that in such a complicated world? You know, it's really, really important. Okay, so that's the one thing. Okay, now we're going to talk about the fact sheet. And I'll just, since I already went over the schedule, turn to this page, the back page here, that says announcement. Okay, that is the information about the 2017 Just Women Bible Study. That's the title, well, the working title. We already have two writers who've agreed to write, and I'm going to tell you that. It's a secret, but here you go. It's Katie Valentine who's with us. Katie.
Yay!
In fact, I am so excited about her participation because she did her PhD on slavery in the New Testament, and she wrote like I think 120 pages on 3 verses. Okay.
Oh my.
I wrote 359 pages.
Okay. 359
Let's be clear.
pages on 3 verses. Okay. But she also.
I hope she knows how to be concise.
She told me about that last night.
This shows.
Katie actually has a really wonderful way of writing to lay women as well. I've read some of her stuff. She like condenses it down and gets to the meat and or the beans if you're a vegetarian. And she just gets to the solid core and helps us understand, because you know that is a really big kind of concern. The slavery, what do we do with that in the Bible? What do we do with anything like that in the Bible? So she is going to help us make sense of that. What do we do with these difficult passages in the Bible? Okay? And also from the whole idea of freedom. Okay. And then the other author, the other writer is Reverend Dr. Cynthia Hale, who's met, so I'm super excited about that. She is in my region, and I have an email and, you know, face-to-face relationship with her, and I'm just thrilled that she readily agreed to write for us. Wow. So I'm just really thrilled about that. I'm really excited about working with her, and I'm working on the other 2. And just, I'll say this once, but I'm going to say this a lot of times today. If you have ideas, if you know of people who are theologically sound, who can write well, and how are you laughing?
What does that?
Yeah, make sure you heard that theologically
Right,
well too.
What does theologically sound mean exactly?
Theologically sound means they can write with clarity and explanation about the Bible, and not only in ways that explain it theologically, but explain how it applies to our lives. I mean, I always send out to every writer, I send out some information about, you know, writer's guidelines, and it's not just explain the Bible verse here. It's how does this matter to me? That's why we are doing this Bible study. It's useless if there's nothing in there about why does this matter to me. Okay, so that's the thing. All right, now we're going to go through the other side, and I just want to, we'll just go through these points, okay?
I have theology.
Any questions so far about what I've said to you about the deadline, or the deadlines or the ordering or anything like that for next year? Yes, ma'am.
The ones for this year. This has February 8th.
Yeah, thank you, you're right. Okay, so you people get a special dispensation and can still order the Bible study until February 8th. I would not wait that long. Beverly Ledwin it manages a lot of that work, and just so does Regina. But there's just going to be a lot of commotion. Beverly is retiring February 12th, I think. 11th. I would not wait that long. I would do it this weekend or early next week. Yes, ma'am.
Are these online where we could say, so I don't have to make a copy and can send it to the study people in our state or our region?
I will absolutely send you all that. I can absolutely send you that electronically. It's not online now.
This piece is online.
That is online, yes.
Yes.
Excuse me, thank you.
This one's online.
But this is not,
Yeah,
and
the
I
yellow-
think this would be good for people who are wanting more information.
All right, I will send that to Crystal, and Crystal can work at that magic, okay?
We can put it on the DWLC 2016
Okay.
website.
All right, but it's also sometimes good to just have it, I mean, like 7 times, 7 different ways.
Right.
Like, how many people are gonna remember to go to that website after you check Facebook? Okay, it's true, it's just like,
If you don't order until February 7th,
no, you can still get it. I would just do it as soon as possible, because the original, and Beverly really, she and I argued back and forth about setting the deadline, because as the publication got later, I wanted to extend the deadline, and she just felt like it's important to not switch around deadlines all the time, and I agree with that, because, then people are always thinking, oh, they're gonna change the deadline again.
How's the weather? She's a
I'll just wait, right.
She's a few words.
So, anyway, okay, but yeah, I would just encourage your orders, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that this afternoon.
I didn't have
Any other questions? So, yeah, the deadline for this lavish hospitality is February 8th, okay? And I'm gonna have subscription forms here. We're gonna do this a little bit later. I'm actually gonna show you how to go online. I also wanna note that I got an email from Beverly yesterday saying that there has been some feedback just in the last 24 to 36 hours that trying to subscribe online, they couldn't switch to the address, which I think might have been your problem. Because Sarah just told me that she wasn't able to do the Canada option. So there's something glitchy on the website. Well, and the website, okay, we're gonna go through that in a little bit, and Pat's gonna help me. The website's not always easy to work with. It's not the most user-friendly website. Okay, let's name that. But this is worth working through in order to get this resource. How many people spent $20 for dinner last night? Okay, so this $19 resource will give you more food and a more memorable experience than, will give you a more memorable experience than whatever you had for dinner last night. I already cannot remember what I had for dinner. Okay, so we'll go, I also have subscription forms that I'm gonna get to in a little bit too. And so you can give your cash, your check, or your credit card number here. Or Pat, if you don't want to give your credit card number, although this is going to be handled securely by Disciples Women's staff. But if you don't want to do that, Pat and Chesla have little squares, and they can run your card as well. Okay. But I have to tell you, if we're having trouble with the website, that may not be an option this morning, and this may be your better option. Just fill out your subscription form. Okay. All right. So we're going to go through the Bible study facts. So this is why should you use this? Well, I don't want to be so blunt, but frankly, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it, okay? Because that's the reality of all resources. You all are in church, right? You know where church is. Every church I know is struggling financially, and if you think that the churches are struggling, all the denominations are too. It's not just Disciples. It's all the denominations. They're all downsizing. They're all looking at their bottom line. It has to be done, folks, okay? This is a unique resource in a lot of ways. I don't know of other, and Pat, you would probably know this. I don't know of other mainline denominations that are publishing a women's magazine or women's.
Presbyterians are.
The Presbyterians are.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's the only one I know of.
Okay, so and there's a
They seem to
lot
have
out there,
filled
so it's
some
pretty
amount of
unique,
money.
and Disciples have a unique voice to share, okay? And so it's unique in the other way too, that it's written by disciples, women, pastors, scholars, and leaders. And it's by disciples women for disciples women. And it invites us, it's intentionally invites us to hear new voices and learn from sisters whose experiences may be different than ours, okay? And that's why you don't have just one author writing all 8 lessons. You have 3, or you have 4, or this time we have 5, okay? And there's a reason for that, and that's to hear new voices. You may not agree with every voice. Guess what? That's okay. Isn't that like our churches? Okay? Okay, the theme, I already talked about this, is the table and beyond, lavish hospitality in the Bible. I already talked about that. It explores the theme of hospitality in the Old and New Testaments. You know what the scriptures are from that other sheet of paper. And, you know, fear of strangers is our predominant mode of operandus right now. And there's a different way. So, okay, and the Bible lessons, we already talked about that. Like I said, they're all a direct quote from the study scripture. And that just kind of summarizes what those lessons are about. I'm really also excited about, I didn't mention this, but Nora Carmi is a missionary who is in Bethlehem. And some of you did anybody go to the Middle East? Okay, some people went to the Middle East this last fall for Woman to Woman. And I bet you met her. Yeah. And so she's just like entrenched there in the work of Palestine and Israel bridging, for lack of a better word, and just a remarkable study she's written. She is a laywoman, but just has written a really remarkable study, which leads off the study. Okay. Now, is this one of those Bible studies that is going to take hours to prepare? How many of you have actually used this Bible study? Okay, maybe half. Okay. Is this one of those Bible studies that is going to take hours to prepare?
No.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's really designed. It's designed intentionally. See, I write the leader's guide part, and I write it where I require that the part of the lesson is to get people to read the Bible right then. So if they come to the meeting or whatever and they haven't read the Bible, it's okay because they get to read it again. And if they've already read it, hey, you might find something new. You can read the commentary, the study that's written by our writers. You can read that before or after the lesson because it will embellish and kind of help you understand even more. So it's also not focused on gathering like a bunch of obscure materials. Like, make sure you have 7 number 2 pencils and 14 strips of red ribbon of different types, satin, rose grain, whatever, all the different types. No, we do not do that because that's just too complicated for our complicated lives. Okay, and then again, what if my group doesn't prepare for Bible study? Like I was in a women's group last weekend, and it's really kind of funny because they actually do a book group. They do a book group, and they read. But when I suggested just women Bible study, they said, "Well, do we have to read ahead of time?" No, I'm making fun of that group, but I'm not really. But the reality is, no, it's like, well, read a book, but I don't know. Why don't we want to read the Bible? I don't know. I mean, answer me that question. I don't know. Because honestly, I think the Bible has gotten a really bad name in our culture, and it is time that some quiet disciple voices stand up and start talking about the Bible in the way it was intended, which is life-giving. Okay, it is not sledgehammer. Okay, so that is why I am working on the Bible study, and that is my actual favorite part of the whole thing. So, but anyway, you do not have to read the Bible lesson. You can invite friends and newcomers and visitors to come to our group. It's right after church. Stay with us after church. We're having lunch. We're going to meet. You can do that, and people do not have to prepare because they will actually go through the lesson right there. Have you found that to be true? Those who
Yes.
Yes. It's really easy to use. And then there are many ways to use it. You can use one lesson. Okay, so like somebody calls on you to teach something, you can use one lesson. You know, pick one out. You can use all of them. You can use them in any order. There's not an order. It's not like, oh my gosh, we forgot to do the last one. That means there's this whole big huge gap that we're now not going to understand this next lesson. It's not like that at all. They're standalone studies, which I find to be a really important resource. There are not a lot out there like that. There's tons of books and Bible studies for women out there for women, and most of them they build on the previous one. And I think it's just helpful to have standalone lessons. And then preparing the lesson, you just go to the suggestions for leaders after each lesson, and you put together a lesson that suits your group. Every lesson, and I write all those leaders' guidelines. So even though the author's voices are different, there's this consistent format for preparing a lesson. There's an introduction. It tells you what to do to get it ready to teach. Then there's a welcoming thing. It's an icebreaker. It's not the CWF prayer. And it's intentionally not the CWF prayer to be more inclusive. Because even though the CWF prayer is near and dear to our hearts, it doesn't feel like anything to people who might be newcomers or visitors, okay? So that's just something that I intentionally made a decision about. And it's one of those things to get people talking. Okay, so that's what the introduction is. And then there's the focused reading of the Bible passage. And then there's somehow an exploration of that Bible passage. So there's a Bible study. And then there's application, choice of life application. And that's where you can have a lot of flexibility. You know, you can choose 2 of them to discuss fully. You can choose 5 of them. You can do that ahead of time, or you can do that, you know, on the fly as you're with your group, as you're kind of seeing what they're interested in. So there's intentional variation about those discussions. Some of them are personal. You know, like how does this apply to my life? Some of these are church. Like how does my church demonstrate? Is hospitality a burden? This is a question. Is hospitality a burden or a privilege in my church? That's a question. Wouldn't that be a great discussion question? Yeah. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing. Or another example of a question would be. Remember and describe a time where you were a newcomer and were welcomed. How did that feel? So that's kind of what that's about. And then at the end, there's a choice of for more, you know, to do more. And that's personal sometimes, and then corporate. You know, you might, you know, it's just, I can't remember some of those, but there's just 2 different kinds of things there. And then there's a variety of prayer styles that close it. Again, not the CWF prayer, but different kinds of prayers. Maybe a silent prayer, maybe a poem that you read together. Okay, so how do you order the Just Women Bible Study? A subscription is the most economical way. As you know, it's $12 for the Bible study now. It's $19. Do the math. Okay, for $7 more, you get 3 magazine issues. You know, so it's really a good deal. So I think this is. Can you help me with this now, Pat? Should we? Yes. We just want to go onto the store here.
We'll show how difficult this is.
Yeah, it is. And we recognize this. And the answer I've been given, and Pat, you can say, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's saying that. But the answer I've been given is we're working within the Disciples Home Missions website. Okay. And because of the constraints of that frame, okay, we got to deal with that, okay? And, you know, to at this point start an entire new web page for Disciples Women, just so we can have a better platform for just women is probably not cost effective, okay?
That is true, but let me also add a word of hope. That is that DHM is updating their website, which means that we will also get an update. And Chesla is serving on that committee,
Great.
So Chesla will be a voice for us to say, we got to make this easier.
Yeah, and,
So there's hope.
Chesla and I have had lots of conversations about this, and in fact, Chesla is a really good advocate for better cleaner technology. So thank you, Chesla. Okay, so if you go, it's basically discipleswomen.org. Let me get my
You want me
pen.
to go through the whole process?
Yeah, do it. But I'm just gonna tell you, if you just go disciples,
Let's type in discipleswomen.org. How about that?
women, do that.
And remember that it will come up home missions, even though we're typing in discipleswomen.org.
But that's good. And you can actually do,
And then you scroll to the bottom of the page,
No, don't do that, Kathy.
I know.
and then you
That'll
click
confuse.
on
Okay.
Just Women Magazine. And that will take you to the general Just Women Magazine page.
Okay.
Okay, you're up.
No, that's good. So it's got a little bit cleaned up, so you can actually click on different things here. Here's, if you go to resources there, that's right there on the top, current year information. If you go to there, you'll see, go ahead and do that, let's do that first. Yeah, 2016. So that's gonna go, just scroll down. The Bible study is described first. And this tells about, and it talks, that order form is right there, keep going. And so it starts, here's the first one you received, Celebrating Disciples' Creativity in the Arts. And that study guide is already available. It's online. This is the blue magazine that people showed. And then the next one is the Bible study, here we go. Even though that's, you wanna keep going down?
Okay.
So there's the Bible study described, keep going. And then summer, here's a description of summer, and then fall, okay? So there's a description of the entire year. And very soon, I'm gonna post 2017's content, okay? Probably by early spring. So that's a new thing too. We used to always have the content posted far in advance because I would actually look at that as a potential writer and think, oh my gosh, so that's an interesting theme. I think I could write on that. Oh, that's a good idea. So we're gonna be having that posted all the time. So can we go back to the previous page now? So that's content and also the place where you can, the resources, current year information, and then also, okay, let's go to subscribe. So there's two ways before you do that. There's an online store. There's also a subscription form, and I'm gonna hand one out to you, but there's a subscription form that you can print out and take to people if you would rather do it that way and send it with your check or send in with your credit card information. Okay, so just go to the online store. That's right. Just go down. So Just Women, and this actually tells at the top your deadline. So it tells right away, like, oh, it's October 15th. Am I gonna get the October issue? No, actually. So it will tell you that. It's the deadlines for when those subscriptions need to be in if you want a certain issue. But you can also very often get a single issue, because like this single issue is available. This single issue from the fall is still available. So there's single issues. If you've missed an issue, if you start your subscription, you missed an issue that you really want, you can still get that. However, like this one, let me see. This is sold out, okay? Well, then that's the large print copies available. But that print edition is sold out. That from last year, the Bible study, the print edition is gone. However, you can get it through our digital subscription. But that's another, I'm gonna have a little discussion about that too, okay? So this is the store. It's not very orderly. Like, actually it's getting better because like, well, what's the first thing up there? Oh, this is great. This is fantastic because I gotta tell you something. I was really upset about a month or 2 or 3 ago because the first thing on this ordering box, you know, the first like thing in the store was the Just Women cheese spreaders. And I was so mad about that. Like, what? And so this is fantastic. The first thing on the order is the most recent issue. And then the previous issue, here's the Bible study, and then the summer. So that's in roughly the good order. This technically could be here, but it's okay. It's close. They're all on the top line, which is wonderful. Okay? Okay, can you go back now?
Question.
Yes.
It would be helpful for people that are not familiar with looking at it or Just Women Magazine for that list that were up there a few minutes ago, the one that's actually got the Bible study in it. that it says in the description that that's the Bible study version. Some people might know that it's the spring one that always had it, but it won't be next year.
It says, let me see.
Bible study.
It says Just Women Bible Study, 2016. This one says Bible Study as well.
And
Oh, you're right.
the large copy, right?
Yeah, you're right. That needs to be changed. You're absolutely right.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Finally found it. Oh, good job.
You're absolutely right. So that in both 2014 and 2015 needs to indicate it's the Bible study. And they only are the large print.
I was guessing because it costs more to have Bible study.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Kathy,
Yes.
I had to renew yesterday.
Yes.
And let me just tell you, if I had not been here where there were people to help me, I probably would have stopped if I were at home.
Yeah.
It was that hard.
Oh, yeah.
What do I pick? What do I select? The language, I knew what I was looking for, couldn't find it. I mean,
What were you trying to order?
Renew my subscription.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, and then, yeah, that's another thing, actually, you know what, that actually, if you go down to the bottom, let me see. Go to the bottom, no, not to the whole bottom, the bottom life. Yeah. Subscription, yeah. See, you're right, because honestly, besides the spreaders as the first item, I actually said, why is the subscription not the first item? So we got rid of the spreaders, we still need to get that subscription right up there in that top
Again,
line.
that's a website thing. It's not that we don't want to do it. It's,
Right.
but
Yeah,
we're
and
hoping
Beverly-
to get there.
I talked to Bev about that, and Bev was frustrated as well.
And
Okay.
then when I got to the select your shipping method, I automatically put in $5, and I'm thinking, okay, $5, that wasn't part of any of the script literature I read earlier, but okay. But then you can select UPS or flat rate, and it actually lets you put in flat rate. To
Okay.
get you down to the $36 that's actually listed there.
Okay.
It was just, I kept
It should
asking
default
Shelley, she's like,
flat rate.
You're not done yet. I'm like, no, I'm still
Yeah.
working on it.
Yeah, I'm really hearing you, and I really am as frustrated as well. And I'm not trying to be whatever, but I am the editor,
Right.
and that ain't my job. And it's got to get better. If we want our women to use this as a resource, I get that. There's a marriage between those two things, and it's important.
Having experienced all of the frustrations that I had, anybody that comes to me now and says, I'm having difficulty, I can now guide them through the process.
Yes.
So not just, oh, hey, just go to the website, you can do right really easy, you know.
And frankly, yeah, you know, it's a rare occasion, and I hate to say this, but it's like it's almost easier to print out the stupid subscription form and just mail the dang thing in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I mean, I'm really sorry to say that. And once in a great while, I will encounter an online purchase that I'm making, and I'm like, dang, I'm just calling them. This is ridiculous. You know, it's too slow, or it's too many steps, or whatever. People don't have time for that.
Like the Thoughtful Christian. I hate to order from the Thoughtful Christian.
Yeah, they have a complicated
They
website
do.
too. You're right.
But
But
it wasn't
yeah.
really complaining, I was just reading.
Yeah, Katie.
Would it help if you gave us the email of someone at DHM that we all wrote to and said, please fix this?
Kat?
We got an
No,
email.
it's a website ability issue. It's not that there's not a desire to fix it, it's that the website has restrictions, which is why we're updating the website.
And how long is that
Yeah,
process? How long before that process is
They don't
Take a
even
while.
understand that a website
Have
is
you
built
seen
into
the
frames.
church
They're not gonna understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but Ron
The
Beggs is
website will
wonderful.
be as, here's the answer. The website is going to be updated as quickly as your churches change.
Now we understand. We have
You want to ask some more questions then?
I'm surprised she didn't turn around and say, I want some volunteer to help fix it.
It's not easy
The
to
bottom
do.
line, which actually shows, let's just go down to the Just Women page, and then, okay, here's the store. No, here's the store. Okay, here, go to the top. Go to the top for a minute. Okay, now go down. So the first line has all these single issues you can buy. Let me just go through that, okay? Second line, let's do that. Second line has some more past issues, okay? Single issues, it's very clear. It tells you the dates. Keep going. Again, some single issue. Okay, here's the Just Women spreaders, which I have for free today.
So they'll come off the website.
No,
So
they're
there's
only
none
for
left.
free if you order a subscription for a friend. If you spread the word, okay? Keep going. Okay, right now. Here we go. Just Women on like fourth line. Sorry, ladies, but Just Women Study Resource Subscription Canada bundle. So that's one subscription. You know, 1 year. Keep going. Here's Just Women Study Resource Subscription Canada 2 year. Here's Just Women Study Resource Subscription Canada 1 year.
Twice.
Oh, this is
That's a
confusing.
bundle.
Oh my gosh, that's if you get more than one. So bundle needs to be defined there, actually. Bundle needs to be, does everybody know what bundle means?
More than one.
So bundle equals more than one.
More
to
than
the
one
same address.
subscription, like you
Yeah.
do for a church maybe, or
And
for a
then,
region.
okay, so Canada, and then US bulk, 15 or more copies. So that's the same, we need to find that. It needs to be the same. Because what we're talking about is 15 or more copies.
It does need to be defined.
Yeah.
Is that a Canadian English versus English?
But the fact that there's 15 or more is missing is.
It's a mailing thing. It's the cost of mailing it.
Yeah. Yeah, we just need to make the language the same. I mean, it's just the wording for this is more
Bulk and
clear.
bundle are very similar words. I'm thinking the
No,
Canadian.
no. It's just,
I don't know.
no.
Yeah, no.
And so here's a 2 year
Okay.
subscription. And keep going.
I think
It is Friday.
Keep going. All right, here you go. You want a 1 year subscription to Just Women magazine and you're in the US? It's the last one on the page. Okay?
The last shall
Yeah.
be first.
And I mean, yeah, that's right. No, and I mean, that is frustrating. I share your frustrations. Don't let that frustration block you from using this. Because honestly, ladies, this is the deal of the century. And if you are spending $20 a month on let me call it elite coffees, gourmet coffees, okay? And if you're spending $20, for dinner last night, $19 a year, or Canada is 24. It is a deal. It is a deal. You are going to be fed with this resource in a way that nothing else you're doing feeds you. Yes.
I am wondering, is it possible for those who cannot make it through this maze or won't choose to, can they call the office and just say, we would like to order? Because my experience with my secretary, she sometimes, maybe didn't understand.
I don't need one.
She wanted to phone Beverly and order, and talk to a human and order it. And I think she was told that you can't do that. Is that possible, that somebody can just phone it in?
I think it has to do with, it has to go through Lana to be
I
paid
think
for,
in the
right?
translation, I didn't understand what
Oh,
I was
thank you.
getting.
Yeah, the problem is not ordering, the problem is paying for.
So they can't give a
That's
credit card
what
number
it
to
is.
Beverly.
She can't do a credit card number on a
I
subscription form?
don't think she does that.
My secretary was.
Let me double check that. I'll have
Like,
to
if you
double
do
check
that, you will cut through this in 5 minutes flat.
The problem is, again, that we're going to 2 part-time people, and if we have somebody that's all they're doing is taking prescriptions.
Hey, Pat.
So we'll have to address that.
You lose
If
control.
you did that, all this goes away because you have the, if you just put on.
But I'm saying we're gonna have 2 part-time people. So if we have one person who's doing that all the
But
time,
you
that's,
may have people choosing not to purchase.
I understand,
And-
I understand.
And it took us 4 times to get it to happen because my staff not being able to.
I understand.
Pat, does the office have a card reader like you and Tesla do? A square?
No, I mean, I have one.
Well, but if you're out of town, but that would solve the problem is if there were a reader in, then it wouldn't have to go through Lana to get it paid for if people did call. Not that you wanna spend a lot of time doing that, but it is.
But how does that work if they don't have the card?
Yeah. Card reader doesn't help if you're not there in person.
I feel like taking her mic and saying, do.
Yes, not a card
She
reader.
said,
Ladies,
take
we've
your
had a
mic and
couple of
start.
good questions. Is there a phone number we can call to place an order? Pat's gonna get that answer. The second question is, just to clarify on the subscriptions, if you order 15 or more copies, that's a bundle, and there's a reduced price for that, and they all go to the same address though. So let's say you order 15 copies that come to your church, okay? And then you can distribute them that way. That's the cheaper subscription rate. Okay, $17 in the US versus 19, 22 in Canada versus 24. Okay? She's keeping me honest here. You know, because sometimes we disciples leave out Canada and I can't. She stares right here. So I'm not doing that today at all. Okay. So you have a subscription form. Can you go back to the previous page where the resources are? Okay, now here you go. Subscribe. Remember the online store, and there are some problems with that. We recognize that. Please do not let that be a barrier to your using this resource. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face, as my mother used to say. Subscription form. Here you go. If you prefer, just go to that. Subscription form. It's a PDF, so that's going to load slowly because this is a slow thing here. Print it out, send it in. You have one in your hand. The one in your hand is slightly different because it has the Bible study on it as well. So this was done just for this meeting. Don't duplicate this one. You'll confuse your people. But this one is for this meeting, okay? This one here, you can just print out. And I would urge you to take a pile of those to any women's thing you're involved with, any women's group, any interregional. When I went to, I led a Bible study at our Georgia fall conference. I sold 20, which Marilyn keynoted, and she did a fantastic job. I sold 25 subscriptions from among 125 women. I'm serious. It was yes, and I just think the women haven't been allowed enough voice for this resource. And y'all need to help us because we do not have a sales team at Disciple Land in Indianapolis. I call it Disciple Land. We do not have a sales team or advertising force in the general office that can go out and sell subscriptions.
We need to record Kathy doing a commercial for Just Women.
Exactly. You know, that would be on your YouTube.
No, but seriously, you guys need to do this. You are the people that from you spreads the word. Okay, so I'm telling you, like I said, we have got to do this together. Okay,
We do need a YouTube clip.
Where am I?
Good.
You know, I think what they just said while you're looking for where you're going next, it would be good to have her on YouTube doing a semi-funny thing. You had a good sense of humor here. Throw something weird and wonderful in it and doing it too bad at this magazine. Okay.
I heard that.
I do know that. They don't want to go online. I do know that. Yes.
We just checked with the source who actually knows something, that'd be Regina. And when someone calls in to order Just Women, because they want to order it over the phone, what they do is they sit at their computer at Disciple Land and they fill it out online for the person. So you can call an order, but what they're going to do is fill it out online. But that way, if there's real confusion, they can call the office, and then they'll order it for them.
So Pat's not going to like the fact that I said that, but I'm like, do that. If that is the barrier
Well, yeah,
that's keeping you, if that's what's keeping you from getting it, absolutely do that. Okay. All right. Other questions? Yes.
I think some of us would be willing to take about the impact of these Bible studies and why we think other people could use them. And we could just put it up on YouTube. Is anyone else willing to do this with me?
Yeah.
I'm willing to do this.
Okay.
We can do this weekend, this week.
Okay.
Carolyn.
Okay, what she's saying is when we were talking about recording the infomercials, that part of that is possibly recording testimonies of why Just Women matters. And we can add that to the YouTube channel, so we can say Just Women Matters or whatever. That's kind of stealing the pension fund, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But so if you're willing, as Carolyn said she is, to record why Just Women Matters, how you use Just Women, suggestions about it.
Raise your hand if you're willing and give me your name.
Then we can record that, add that to the YouTube channel.
Who else is interested in doing that with Carolyn?
Kathy.
Tell me your name back there. Tara.
Tara Daniels.
Tara? Daniels, okay. If you're, anybody else?
Kathy, I'm willing to record it because I brought this like amazing microphone.
Yes.
So I would be willing to record.
Oh my goodness, how awesome is that?
But I'm leaving tomorrow after like around noon, so I'd have to do it tonight or, just, yeah. So.
There's actually gonna be some time in the schedule later in the afternoon today.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
Did you have a question?
I don't have a question. I would say that
Hello?
that any of the ladies that are friendly with technology, now that you've done it, you can take your ladies and say, we're doing subscriptions today after church, have your computer set up and walk them through that, just like the person on the phone in Disciple Land is doing. So, some people are very comfortable with technology, some people are not. So if you are willing to take that time, go ahead and plan that. And as good women, have lunch for them and do that. And you could do the same thing that they would be doing at the Disciple Land. I love that. Disciple Land. Yeah.
Oh, you started something.
Small churches.
Yeah.
If you want a subscription and you don't know how to do it, go over there where Jennifer is. You'll do your subscription.
I will do your subscription. I have no problem with it.
Yeah, and just talking, do you want to need to
And Kathy, I have Kathy.
I will cover more things this afternoon because I have lots of time this afternoon. Yes.
Either 1 year ago or 2 years ago, maybe it was last year, that I ordered the large print copy, and it was not, as you know, Pat, it was not a large print copy of the actual pretty color. All it was kind of taking what you originally had, enlarging on a photocopier. I was too embarrassed. I did not sell those. I gave them away. And so is there an avenue? Are we moving towards getting a true large copy?
The large print copy is a photocopy. It's on 11 by 17
But I think
sheet.
I think people need to know that. I don't think that's
It's
fair.
the large print
Right.
copy, and that
Because
probably
some of the
should be-
ladies were disappointed with ordering the
Right.
large print.
Yeah, because
We
it's
absolutely
a,
need to be clear.
Yeah.
that probably should be this probably could be just added to the website. This is a photocopy on 11 by 17.
Because I think Horizons, the Presbyterian, had a true large copy,
right.
so I'm
But again,
assuming
it's
we
the
have
extra
that
printing cost
relationship.
is
Oh,
why-
I know,
yeah,
it would
but
be
we
more
do need to be
expensive.
clear that
Yeah,
that's what-
yeah.
Okay, that's helpful too.
Okay.
Well, and how much do we charge for
Kathy?
that?
Yes.
It's the same price, but it's
On
yeah.
that large
That's
print,
wrong.
That's wrong.
maybe
That's
Montana
wrong.
was one of them that
That's
said we need larger print, and it came to us. And our gal that
And give 'em-
needed it was thrilled.
Okay.
She was
Yeah.
thrilled.
Yeah, the other thing I want you to be aware of is that as the editor, I am very, very aware of print size. And like I've noticed a number of subscriptions I take, people are like shortening the magazines, there's fewer pages, and they're lowering the print size. I take this one magazine that I swear to you, the type size is so small, I gotta get my magnifying glass out. And I'm really making sure that doesn't happen because I recognize there's a range of reading abilities, in terms of just visual. And so one thing to do is just make sure you don't go down too small, right? So we're gonna be careful about that.
Okay. Let's appreciate Kathy.
Oh, yeah.